up and say, hey, I want to fight the toughest challenges out there. Just like Hopkins is doing. Just like I did when I was fighting. At the end of the day, it's not about the business. It's about the fight. If you put the fight first, yeah, the business will come. The mentality of the fighter has to change. And that's why I love Hopkins so much, is because his mentality has never changed. It's always been about the fight. Business is going to come. It's going to fall into place. It's always been about the fight. We're going to talk about it. Is he going to fight Triple G? Absolutely, of course. It's not a question. Canelo is willing to fight anybody. The very best. That's who he is. That's his character. That's why he's the guy right now, today. He's made his mark, and Canelo is the guy who is on top of the sport now.
All this double talk. So De La Hoya wants to put on the best fights. He wants to give the fans what they want to see. Unless, of course, it has to do with Triple G and Canelo. So now we hear that if the negotiations were to start tomorrow, it would be a 90-10 split in Canelo's favor. Damn, that's a Mayweather deal right there. 90-10 split. And of course, De La Hoya says he's basing this split off the last performances of GGG versus David Lemieux, which did somewhere around 150,000 pay-per-view buys, and Canelo versus Cotto, which did somewhere around 900,000 buys. But let's not forget to mention that Cotto was the A side in that fight and has a huge built-in following with or without Canelo. If Cotto would have fought Triple G, I assume the numbers would still be somewhere around 900,000. Maybe a little less, but definitely more than 150,000. And if Canelo were to fight David Lemieux, we all know the pay-per-view numbers would be nowhere near 900,000. Cotto has a huge fan base, and comparing him to David Lemieux is definitely not comparing apples to apples. And let's also not forget that David Lemieux is a golden boy fighter. And he, as well as Oscar, should be held accountable for the 150,000 buys that was generated when Lemieux fought Triple G. I mean, it's the promoter's job to promote the fight. Was Oscar truly promoting that fight? Anyway, I am starting to think that Gennady is a first fighter in the history of boxing that will collect more money by receiving step-aside checks than he will make money for fighting in the ring. I also am starting to wonder if the WBC is going to give Canelo another out and not force him to fight Triple G in 2016 after his voluntary defense. Will Canelo be forced to provide another check to Triple G for step-aside money? Or will Gennady just completely get screwed? To me, it seems like De La Hoya just does not want this fight. Clearly isn't giving the fans what they want. It's clearly not about boxing. And with the 90-10 split, it might just be about business. But I think he just doesn't want the fight. At this point, I think Triple G should just ask for a flat fee, whatever that may be, and just take the fight. Yes, that's bad business, but it's obvious he's going to get no help from the WBC. They're not going to push for the fight, and Golden Boy doesn't seem to want it. We can only assume that in addition to the 90-10 split, the catch weight will also be held firm at 155 pounds. It's amazing to me that after all the shit Oscar talks about Mayweather, he seems to be cut from the exact same cloth. he doesn't seem to be any better. You can easily make the argument that Oscar doesn't care about the history of the sport. Hell, maybe he just wants to join the money team. I'm assuming that Canelo realizes the effects cutting weight had on him at 152 pounds when he faced Mayweather, and he may want to do the same thing to Triple G. I have stated in the past that Gennady can make the 155-pound mark easier than Canelo. However, he has never done it. I hope Gennady at some time does a practice run and cuts down to 155 pounds during camp and doesn't just try to do it during the fight. At this point, I believe Triple G just may have to concede to these demands. He's getting what is considered to be old for an athlete, and who knows when his skills will actually start to deteriorate or diminish. I believe Triple G should just start accepting fights and try to keep that 4-fight-a-year schedule. Hell, I even think he should call Andre Ward on his shit and just take the challenge at 168. But we all know at this point Ward will probably say he's only taking fights at 175. To me, Oscar's the same as all other promoters. I can't say that Canelo is ducking Triple G, but I am confident in saying De La Hoya is. Let's just hope this all works out. 90-10 is ridiculous. It takes two to fight. Both fighters need to be compensated. Canelo, in my opinion, is the A side and should be paid accordingly, but 90-10 is ridiculous. Let's hope that 2016 ends better than it's starting. Take care, guys.